Hello YouTube, what up? Like, subscribe, please. Help me out here. We're doing great. We're over 800 people now. It's kind of a big deal for me. Today, I ordered this braided stainless oil crossover tube from Swag Diesel, and I'm gonna show you how to put it in. And had a leaky O-ring, so why not replace all the lines was kind of my idea here with my Powerstroke I bought. So I've got all these fittings, got all these braided stainless lines. You can find other different kits online. There was like, you can get a solid crossover tube, that's cool. Then on Amazon, there's like really cheap ones with rubber. And then what concerned me and how I found these braided stainless is that on the rubber ones, one of the manufacturers, they were cheap Chinese crap, if we're honest. They said, hey, we're now sending it with a heat shield, upgraded heat shield kit. So that to me means they had to do something in response to an issue they were having. Braided stainless rated at a much higher temperature. Things like this one's gonna be the crossover. So it's close to the compressor housing of the turbo. So there is some heat, and you will probably get, radiant heat from the exhaust housing when you're pulling a hill or something, or under load, heavy load. And braided stainless, that's what I decided to go with. Here's all the fittings. I'll lay it out, show you how they're going to be laid out, and get it put in there. As for the layout, you get all these hoses, you get the straight fittings, the angle fittings for the crossover. You've got the H-pop fittings, 90 degree. That there, another 90, small one, and that goes to the passenger side bank. These came with it. I haven't figured out quite yet. They look like the fuel line size, so we'll see if I need them. Again, no instructions. Feel free to pause here to see the layout you're gonna need. One thing to note is Swag says clearly on their website they don't provide instructions, and there's a couple of pictures you can grab from the website to kind of figure out how this is gonna go. It's one of the reasons I made this video. Here's a screen grab from that picture. So note with that picture, there's a lot of stuff not in the valley right there with it. So I gotta make some room under the hood. I'll show you that right now. Start by disconnecting our batteries. I just took the battery, unhooked it, and noticed the bolts were going from the tray. I mean, the battery was obviously leaning here, so somebody hack city bitch, hack city bitch. I'll have to go get some bolts, hardware. Might even have some in my other truck already. We'll get that fixed up when we get back together. So now, the fun part. I'm gonna get started by removing the fuel filter and engine cover first. Got 3 bolts to take that out. Nuts on studs, if you still have that. So once that's out, now's a good time to get to know your truck intimately. I'm probably gonna undo all these wires, but while I'm in here, tape it back up. The harness has been deteriorated over the years. I already saw this with the ICP sensors, got oil in it. So chances are that's on its way out. And then I found this hook was loose, so always be mindful of what's around you when you take on these projects. But so for now, I'm gonna get the wiring harness out of the way, flip it over here, start unhooking this, keep it as an assembly, swing that out of the way, start to make room so I can get the wrenches in there for the fittings and everything, because they ain't turning easy. Maybe with a socket if the compressor's out. We'll see. Oh yeah, see, that's missing the clamp, it's cracked. This was rubbing against the plastic. So, and then I noticed here on that sensor, had a crack in it. Can of worms. I'm a fisherman. Got my bait. So, if you caught my other video, I had that where I use a UV dye to diagnose the leak. That's what we're here for. As I'm working on this, I'm unplugging things, so I saw some oil in there. So obviously gonna need the under valve cover harness, whatever, UVCH, UCVH, whatever the heck it is. So that's obviously got a leak in there. I checked the ICP sensor, same thing. So this is where that die gets helpful, because as you're working, you can start to find the other places of issue that you're gonna want to address. And that's just from the oil down there. So use the die, it's your best friend. It'll help you figure out other areas you might need to fix. So I got like the bracket out for that. I had to undo the fusible link relay wire here for the glow plugs. That was kind of a pain, but extensions and deep sockets are your best friend. Locking extensions, if you have them, they've got them at AutoZone. That way you don't drop a socket. Then I got that bracket out. I've unplugged, you know, oil temp, exhaust, I think that's the back pressure, I forget the name of that one. All my AC stuff, and then I can grab this harness. I got the alternator and an AC one out of the way. Now I'll get this, flip that out over there out of the way to give us a little more access here. What did I miss? One more. I'll unplug that and I'll be able to flip this out a little bit more, get better access to the oil lines down below. So yeah, if you just notice those little suitcase connectors in there and this, I'm wondering what that is too. I'm gonna open this up, wondering if they like put a diode or something to trick the computer. We'll figure it out, we'll get it fixed up. But look at how much room we have with all those wiring out of the way. Ooh la la. Again, really good to check everything when you get in there. I just took off the intake boot, and you can see there's a little crack in it where it looks like it just started to sucking dirt. But luckily nothing crazy into the turbo, so we'll have to get that replaced, a new one or upgraded one. Yeah. So now we got to figure out how to get those configured in here, which it looks like it'll have to go from there and then wrap around the bowl. If you see the curve in it, and then we can get it to there. So I'm going to get all these old ones out right now, the two. So we're going to have one going from here to here, one from here to that plug in the head there. Then the crossover will go from where this one is to that plug in the head there. Let's get these old ones out. I undid this one side, and you can see it's like a time bomb. See how loose these are? Those O-rings just get squished over time, and that's where they can leak. That wasn't even the one leaking. This one was. You can see it down there. So keep on taking them out. Be careful when you take these out. Do not want to strip the high pressure oil pump threads. And when you're cranking on a wrench, watch out for your ICP sensor. You don't want to break that plastic off of that and break that. So be mindful of that while you're in here and doing all this work. So far, the most difficult thing to take out was this little nut on this stud holding this line in. That just, if you have a swivel head ratchet, great. If not, get one. This is Snap-on, but I went to Harbor Freight the other day. They're making copies now. This is a 3/8 version. They've got a 1/4 version too. So yeah, that's what I used to get to that with a short 8 or 5/16 socket. So now that the lines are out, I'll get those fittings all out. That'll get us closer, one step closer. When I take these fittings out, I like to wipe and clean around them the best I can. Make sure when I come out no dirt gets in there. Same near these H-pop fittings. Just want to make sure that stays clean around them when we take those out. And no dirt will get in there and contaminate the oil and the injectors. Okay, so I just learned as you go through these, there's a bigger one for the H-pop threads and then the smaller one for the heads. So now that I got the right size one, look at that. gloves. There we go. Once you get the right size one, that'll thread right in. Killer. Ooh, what do we got? You should be able to just crank down on this because that O-ring gets recessed in the little lip. Yeah. There you go. Bada bing. So I got that straight fitting in there. I got that straight fitting in there. I'm going to take that plug out, get the straight fitting in there, the two angled. I'm putting these straight ones tight because I'm comfortable with that. And then I'll get the angled ones on there and I'll get that crossover tube in there first. Get that out of the way and then work towards the front here. Yep. All right, here we go. So I'm gonna get those angled fittings in there now. I usually never work with gloves, but I bought some last night, so now I feel like I have to wear them. To each their own. So I get that angle fitting on there, right? That's a JIC style, so you know it's a little flexible until you tighten, crank it down on it. So what I'm gonna do there is get that one in. I'm gonna get the driver's side on. What I'd like to do before I put the driver's side is I'm gonna get this line that's going on it kind of in there, and that way I can run. For these other kits, they had like the rubber hose, but they came with a heat shield, and to me that's like you're admitting you have a problem. Since there's less clearance, I wanted to start with the driver's side. So I got that straight on there, and then that's there. So we can clear that. Oh boy. Fighting. Once you get it started, it's good. Then you can kind of route it how you want it. So I'm going to try and get it tightened down where it clears the turbo and the intake boot here for those, just like you see it in this little S-shaped configuration. Once those are all cranked down, that'll be my crossover tube right there. Definitely want to try and use 2 wrenches here when you can. Just makes it go a lot better. Get another size there. Fittings they'll send you, but so that's to keep the degree where I want it, just how we have it. And I can tighten down on that. See, it just moved, so I can kind of control it here with the smaller wrench. Yep, and keep that degree right where I want it. Okay. Same thing, this one's probably gonna want to twist. I don't have a thin enough wrench for this, so I'm gonna try and just I'm gonna have to needle nose it right now. Thankfully that crimp's got ribs on it, so I can kind of keep it right where I want it. Right, that side's done. Now I'll do the same on this side. the big thing is I really just don't want any stress on this. Like too much of a degree can cause it to crack under vibration or something along those lines. So a little bend in it, that's fine, but like nothing too aggressive. And with the pliers here on those ribs of the crimp to keep it straight. So that's what JIC is like. So we're clear of the compressor housing, we're clear of that, nothing's rubbing. It's exactly how we want it. And I'll get that other wrench, tighten down that angle one. Angle good. Alright. So that's that back one. Look at that. Wow, I'm looking from the camera view here. That's beautiful. Go me. So now for ease of install with this and to get the hard, what I think is going to be the most difficult part out of the way, but I'm probably being a baby. I'm going to get this side, and it's the back one on the reservoir, or the H-pop, and it's lower because the front one's going to have a fitting and then another fitting to space it out so that it clears the other one right here. So now I'm going to get this fitting in, and I'm going to get started on routing that. I'm going to try and go behind the fuel bowl. Not 100% sure yet, but that's what I'm guessing, that these little fittings without instructions are potentially to move the fuel lines a little bit. So we'll see here shortly. Again, mindful of that. ICP. Take it out if you're more comfortable. Just don't put a fitting in there. Yeah. All right. So quick lesson here. We've got the straight one. Seeing that's got the O-ring on it. This nut here, that's part of the fitting, so it's all solid. This other 90 degree that's going to go into the back of the H-pop on the far back side of the, you know what I mean. This has got a nut and a washer on it. So what happens is we thread this in all the way. Then when I get it to the degree that I want, we make sure that O-ring's in the groove on the H-pop, then I tighten down this nut. And that's what puts the pressure on it. That's also coincidentally what's leaking on what we're trying to get rid of here. So, you got to be careful because you don't want to tighten down way too much on that H-pop. Those are aluminum threads. I've had to bail someone out who stripped one of these out. They were trying to do this kit. Again, super mindful of don't over tighten into the H-pop because you will strip those threads and rip them out, and then you need a new high pressure oil pump. So don't do that. Don't be an Anthony. Okay, so I went and looked at their picture, and if you saw it, they have the hose running back there. Whoa, around the back of there into here on a 90, but with this fuel bowl, I don't know, the guy at the dealer said I have a 94 and it's different than some. I'm not 100% sure of that. I found it just easiest to run it this way. I do need to be mindful of this right here. That's where the bracket for that glow plug relay is gonna mount. So I'm gonna put it like this right now because it's just not, the hose isn't long enough to run around here. Let's just swing this in, kind of see if that will clear, figure it all out. Oh yeah, it's gonna be so good. Yeah, we'll get that back on there, that'll be fine. I might have to just aim it down a little bit. That's it. Let's see. So yeah, that'll clear. I just got to get everything tight. Put it on a little bit of a downward angle. Still have access to the nuts down below. So yeah, that's how I'm going to end up running this hose. Beautiful. That's what happens. Maybe this is why they don't have instructions. All right, so this is how we'll get it. I'm gonna favor that down like that a little bit and get these tightened up now. So just to get it a little lower, I loosen this fuel line. I'm gonna push down on it and tighten that so I can get lower with that and not have the two rub together. So this is the fun part here, where doing everything you can to get in there, tighten that lower nut, but you have no room. So I'm actually gonna take this bracket out here. For the exhaust back pressure valve sensor. So I can swing my wrench just a little bit more. Whew. If you're working on a rusty truck and you just want to skip this, I don't blame you. So that's what you missed. I just took out that sensor there so I can get this metal bracket off, just so I can tighten a little better on that line. Peace of mind. That's why you get some of these trucks, it's like half metric, half American. Just throw that nut there so I don't lose it. But even just getting that bracket out, I can swing a wrench. Just enough, a little bit more. To tighten that O-ring nut down. That's exactly what I needed. Let me show you. So we took that bracket out right here just so I could get the wrench into there easier. So it's like sometimes these projects, it's like, it's not about how fast I can do it, but what's the best way. And sometimes it's taking the little stuff out. Like that was that little coupler, and then just not to get that bracket out of there, but now I can have peace of mind that that will be tight and that it won't leak. That's how we've got that one run. Now we can get over to the last one. I'm gonna start by pulling that plug in the head now. So I got that last fitting out from the H-pop. You can kind of see this is the one that was leaking where that O-ring was messed up. So that's what we were in there for. Now I've got my new one. I'm gonna get that in. Then I'm gonna get that 90-degree fitting. And then we'll get that last line in. So I'm on that last one now. I had a 90, I put the 90 on, and then I tried to get the straight in. That wasn't happening, so then I took the 90 off. I put the straight onto it. Now I'm just trying to get that cleared here. There we go. So you can hook that one up there. There's not a lot of flex and play in the shorter line, so I'm gonna need more than likely 2 hands here. Set my camera down soon just to get that lined up. I might be able to do this with you all here. Oh. Nah, I gotta use 2 hands. Oh, wait a minute. I'm the man. There you go. So I got that one on there. I tightened the straight fitting. I was able to get a straight socket, 11/16 down there, and tighten that with my 3/8 ratchet. Did the same on that one. So now I can get these, the 9/16 and the 11/16 wrench, get them, make sure they're not rubbing on the housing here. We'll get those tightened down. And that will have all 3 of them. Then it's a reassemble party. So I got that last one in, and as I was tightening down, I used a pair of channel locks on the crimp. So, because what was happening when I was going to tighten the connectors, it was actually twisting the braid and pinching it. So, and then double check, make sure, hold this tight while I tighten down, so that way I just pulled it in rather than twisted it. So there's no kinks in that. Tightened everything. We all want to go back and check every one before we start getting everything back together before startup. So now I'm going to start to clean up this wiring harness a little bit, and then put it all back together, and then we should be ready to get a startup here and check for leaks. Good thing is there's still a dye in the oil. I'm not due for an oil change. I kept it clean. I know some of you might want to do this between oil changes. Good for you. I'm not. I've got the dye in there, and I'll be able to find leaks if we have any more. So as I'm here doing the cleanup, you know, we took this metal bracket out that was in the way so we could tighten there. I looked in this sensor. I cleaned it already, but it was loaded with carbon. I know on the newer models in the OBS now that these can create performance issues. I did run like a drill bit in there. I couldn't see light through this, so we cleaned that carbon out of that. And then same with the line, kind of ran the drill in there and let in some degreaser soak in there, and then I'm gonna blow it out. But definitely clean that up while you're in here if you did take that out. One thing to be rest assured, because they carbon up over time and then create the issues with the back pressure valve. So I've been going around cleaning up all the connectors. Some of them had that oil in it. I just want to get them clean, check all that. See, like these are broken, so I got to figure out with a zip tie how to fix that or get a repair harness for this. I want to circle back to that engine oil temp that had these connectors in there. I don't know what they were for. They were just dead-ended, wrapped around themselves. So I'm going to take those out and then clean this harness, fix it up so we don't have those in there anymore. So I did some wire loom, just cleaned it up to get everything kind of covered again, but I'm working my way around, getting all the plugs back in, the exhaust back pressure base, the valve cover harness, getting all these plugged back in, working my way around. I had the water temp sensor out, ICP's back in. I did order one, we cleaned it out for now. Got the oil temp, so then I've got this other oil temp here, then this back pressure sensor. So working around, I've like fixed up some of these pieces that came out. I know I gotta get this one taped back on when I get that harness back, but that's what I like to do. You know, I'm in here this deep, so might as well get it fixed up right now rather than down the road when there's an issue. So I'll get this all buttoned up here, get the batteries back in, gonna leave the air filter thing off and then the top cover off, fire it up. Test, check for leaks. So getting everything back in place here. Now I got to get these nuts back on these studs, which were a little easier to take out than put in. If you don't have magnetic sockets, here's a little trick I do. Put it on there, then I'm gonna put that on top of the stud like that, hold it there, and then I let go of the nut, get that down, and then I use my other hand, which I'm going to take back now, but that's my little trick for this. Almost all back together. I wanted to mention, like I did earlier, this piece is all shot. I went to the Ford dealer, they wanted $323 for this rubber piece, so I'm going to be looking for aftermarket for sure. Get a good seal on it right now with a hose clamp, temporary, until we can get another one in there, clean it up. I swear I'm almost there. Just got that boot back in. Now I'm gonna put this new line in that I got because I didn't like that split and there was no thingamabobber clamp on there. So we're gonna get that cut to length. I got some new loom to put around there to cover it a little better so it doesn't rub through like that again. So yeah, just doing what I can while you're in there type stuff. So here's where we're at. Batteries are in. This would not have started. I missed one wire. Thank God we're showing you this. There you go. Batteries are in. I'm checking around the belt, make sure I didn't leave anything here. Nothing's down, sitting on one down there below. But yeah, everything's tight, nothing's crossed, all the plugs are plugged in. So I'm gonna go and try and start it. It's probably gonna take longer. I checked my oil, I'm okay. They do leak a little bit. I had this piece of cardboard under there from stuff that drained in the valley. So let's see how she starts. I'm sad I disconnected the batteries because I just programmed radio stations last night. So, yep, we're gonna see. Now we'll check for leaks. This already sounds better idle. So what I'll probably do, these take like 500 miles to bleed the air out of those lines, believe it or not. From what I've seen and heard from people till they finally get all the air out. So I'll probably go for a drive. I still have that dye in the oil. I'm gonna bring my black light with me, run a couple errands, and then just go up under there. I'm not gonna put the plastic lid back on. I do gotta put the hold downs on the battery, but that's it. Hopefully no leaks. I'll bring the wrenches with me to tighten those hoses too. Good idea. Woo! Woo! So, drove it around, got a bunch of miles on it yesterday. Did a little side hustle with it, loaded down. It's 1 ton, but tool trucks. I got all my tools and stuff in here too now. It's running smoother. It's idling quieter. I had this on a newer Powerstroke that I owned, and I absolutely loved it too. And yeah, I'm happy with it. So when I was in there and fixed some of the wires, I didn't have the clutch in far enough. One of the wires, the terminal was worn out, was for the water temperature, so I squeezed that closed, and then that fixed it. So now the gauge is working again. My check engine light isn't on when I start it now. So by going through everything, cleaning all these stuff up while we were in there, I've eliminated the check engine light I had that would come on in the first few seconds of starting it. I've got my water temperature, smoother idle, does seem to pull a little bit better on the highway. So overall, it's like one of those improvements that you wish Ford did from the factory, but they didn't. So I love it. I hope you do it. I hope you found this helpful. Like, subscribe, find me on Instagram. Same handle, BrianBuilt360, Brian with a Y. Don't forget it. And yeah, share the video. Feel free to send messages, DM me. If you go on Instagram, people DM me all the time, ask questions with projects. But hopefully this was helpful, thorough. Thanks again for watching. We'll see you on the next one. Look at, I look like a Who from the Grinch. It's that time of year. Nice. Wow. Later.